The planet Zeratis 9 was dying. Red skies burned over jagged mountains. Acid rain fell from clouds thick with ash. Everywhere, dangerous creatures prowled, hunting anything that moved. It was a world where only the strongest survived, and the small alien species called the Zorati had never felt so weak. Their cities, once shining towers of crystal and metal, now lay in ruins. Fires burned among the collapsed buildings, and screams echoed across the valleys. The Zorati leaders had done everything they could. They sent patrols, used their weapons and called upon their allies, but nothing worked. The predators were too many. The weather was too deadly. Their world was collapsing. In desperation, they did the only thing left. They sent a plea for help into the void of space. A small, flickering signal traveled faster than light, a cry of fear and hope all at once. It carried a single message. Please, help us. We are dying. Any civilization, any being, please come. The signal raced across the stars. It passed planets, moons, and empty space. And somewhere, far beyond the reach of most species, it was heard. On a world called Ares, 7 humans lived in a place so harsh that no ordinary being could survive. A planet of jagged rocks, extreme temperatures, and endless storms. Only the toughest survived here, humans. These were no ordinary humans. They had learned to endure environments that would kill any other species. They had learned to adapt, to fight, and to thrive where death was everywhere. When the Zorati plea arrived in human space, no one laughed. No one ignored it. The humans analyzed the signal, checked the coordinates, and prepared for deployment. They were not sending diplomats or negotiators. They were sending Deathworlders, humans trained to survive, to fight, and to face dangers no one else could. Meanwhile, on Zeratis 9, the Zorati waited. They had never seen humans before. They imagined beings of light, gentle and wise, who would bring safety and mercy. The elders whispered to each other, praying, hoping. They told their children, "Our saviors are coming. We will be safe." Hours passed. Shadows grew long across the burning landscape. The predators prowled closer. And then in the sky a shape appeared. It was not light. It was not gentle. It was massive, dark, and moving with deadly precision. The first human ship entered orbit. It cast a shadow across the valleys below. Its hull was black, jagged, and gleaming with strange energy. It radiated power and danger. The Zorati watched, trembling. Some ran to hide. Others fell to their knees, begging again, not knowing if the humans were merciful or deadly. Then the ships landed. Dust and rocks exploded as the human craft touched the ground. The doors opened slowly and figures stepped out. The Zorati gasped. They were humans, but not the ones they imagined. They were tall, broad, and covered in heavy armor. Their eyes glowed faintly, cold and calculating. Weapons hummed softly, but no human spoke. They moved with the confidence of predators, silent and unstoppable. The Zorati ran to them, hands raised and pleading. "Please, help us," they cried. The humans did not move. They did not speak. They simply stared, scanning every creature, every shadow, every sound. Their silence was louder than any roar. One elder tried again. "Mercy. Please, save us from the predators." A human lifted a hand slowly. Not in greeting. Not in peace. Just a signal, a warning. Then a small predator that had been stalking the edge of the clearing ran forward. In an instant it was gone. The humans had killed it with perfect precision. The Zorati froze. They realized in horror, these humans were not here to negotiate. They were not here to make friends. They were here to solve problems their way, and it was terrifyingly effective. Some Zorati whispered to each other, "Are they gods?" Others said, shivering, "No, they are something worse. They are Deathworlders." The leader of the human team stepped forward. Every movement was calm, controlled, and deliberate. The ground seemed to shake slightly with their presence. Their weapons glowed faintly in the dim light. One wordless glance from them, and the Zorati realized, their pleas for help could cost them their lives if they were not careful. From the mountains, more predators watched. They had thought the Zorati were weak. They had thought victory was near. Now they paused. Something stronger than any predator was among them. Something that did not fear death, but could bring it to anyone. The Zorati trembled. They had called for help. And help had arrived. But it was not mercy that came to them. It was humans. Humans from a death world. And the Zorati would never forget this day. The predators on Zeratis 9 had never seen anything like the humans. One moment they were confident, prowling the valleys, circling the Zorati. The next they froze. The air vibrated with a new kind of power. The humans were silent, but the ground seemed to respond to their presence. Commander Rylan Kane, leader of the Deathworlder unit, scanned the area through his helmet display. His eyes glowed faintly behind the visor. Every predator, every shadow, every movement was visible to him. Nothing could escape his sensors. He spoke, but not to the aliens. His voice was low, precise, and almost mechanical. Sweep the area. Neutralize threats. Leave survivors if they prove useful. The squad moved in perfect formation. Each human step was silent but deliberate, precise. The predators hesitated, sensing the danger. One charged too quickly, and disappeared in an instant. The other predators scattered, unsure if they should fight or flee. The Zorati watched in awe and terror. Their saviors were terrifying hunters. These humans did not care about mercy. They cared about results. An elder Zorati approached cautiously. Please, save us. Kill only what must die. Commander Kane turned slightly. His visor glowed brighter as he analyzed the alien. He did not speak. He did not smile. He did not nod. But something in his stance reassured the Zorati slightly. They would survive, for now. The humans advanced deeper into the ruined city. They moved like a shadow, eliminating predators with perfect efficiency. Each strike was quick, clean, and final. No screams. No prolonged suffering. Just immediate action. One Zorati child peeked from behind a rock. Her wide eyes followed the humans. They are not like anyone we know, she whispered. An adult beside her nodded. They are Deathworlders. They survive where all others die. Meanwhile, the remaining predators were learning quickly. They tried ambushes, traps, and surprise attacks. But the humans were always faster, always smarter, always one step ahead. Some predators were taken out from behind, as if the humans had predicted their every move. The Zorati started to understand something they had never realized. The humans did not fight like ordinary beings. They did not rely on weapons alone. They relied on survival instinct, strategy, and adaptability. They were a force no predator, no alien army could easily challenge. As the Deathworlders moved, the Zorati began gathering survivors. Humans allowed them to follow, but only at a careful distance. Any sudden move could trigger immediate elimination. The Zorati learned quickly that their lives depended on obedience, caution, and understanding the humans' unspoken rules. After hours of systematic clearing, the Deathworlders reached the central valley of the Zorati settlement. Smoke rose from the ruins. Buildings were broken, but the survivors had not been harmed by human hands. Kane's squad stopped. He scanned the area one last time. Then he spoke, but only to his team. Area secure. Evacuation ready. Threat neutralized. Begin extraction. The Zorati had no words for this. Their saviors did not hug, did not comfort. They simply prepared the area, cleared threats, and waited for orders. It was terrifying and efficient. A young Zorati scientist stepped forward hesitantly. Will you stay? Will you protect us? Commander Kane turned slightly. His voice was calm, firm, and unmistakable. We do not stay. We ensure survival. If you survive, you will remember. If you betray us, you will die. The Zorati shivered, realizing the truth about humans. These were beings born on worlds that would have killed them. They thrived on danger, feared nothing, and respected only strength and obedience. Mercy was not guaranteed, it was earned. As night fell on Zorati's 9, the Deathworlders set up temporary perimeters, securing the area from any remaining predators. Their lights glowed faintly in the darkness, eerie and unwelcoming. The Zorati huddled together, whispering to one another. They are our saviors, but also our executioners. They do not fight for mercy, they fight for survival, and we are lucky to live. Commander Kane watched the horizon. The predators were gone. The planet was momentarily calm. He turned to his team. Mission complete. Return to ship. Humans always survive. Remember this. The squad vanished into the shadows, leaving the Zorati alive, but forever changed. Their species would not forget the power, discipline, and danger of the Deathworlders. That night, the aliens understood a frightening truth. Calling for help did not bring angels. It brought humans from a death world, merciless, unstoppable, and beyond imagination. And they knew one thing with certainty. Any being foolish enough to threaten these humans would never survive to tell the story. The Zorati had thought the predators were the deadliest threat. They had been wrong. Commander Rylan Kane and his squad of Deathworlders moved silently through the broken city, scanning every shadow. Their armor gleamed faintly under the red sky. Each step was measured. Each glance calculated. They were not soldiers. They were hunters born for worlds that would kill anyone weak. A group of predators stalked the Zorati outskirts, thinking the humans would be distracted by the alien refugees. They were mistaken. Kane raised his hand, signaling his team. In an instant, one predator vanished. Another fell to the ground, frozen as if struck by lightning. The Deathworlders' weapons were not loud or explosive, they were silent, deadly, and precise. The Zorati watched in fear. Their hearts pounded. They had never seen efficiency like this. Do they always kill like that? A young Zorati whispered. Only those who are threats, an elder replied. Those who survive, do so by their rules, not ours. The predators had learned quickly to fear the humans. They circled, trying to regroup, but the Deathworlders were faster, smarter, and stronger. Every movement the predators made was anticipated. One by one they were eliminated with calm, surgical precision. Meanwhile, Kane's squad reached a cliff overlooking the central valley. Below, the largest predator pack gathered, preparing for a final attack. Target the leader first, Kane said. The rest will fall in panic. The team moved. A blue energy pulse emitted from one weapon, slicing the predator leader cleanly in two. The remaining predators froze, then scattered in terror. The Zorati shivered. They realized that the humans did not fight like any species they had known. One alien spoke quietly, "They are gods, or monsters." Kane did not hear. He was scanning the horizon. Every predator, every possible threat was accounted for. His visor glowed, highlighting shapes invisible to normal eyes. Every step the Deathworlders took was a calculation for survival. Suddenly, a young Zorati child ran too close to a rocky ridge. A predator lunged. Kane reacted instantly. He fired a silent shot, cutting the predator down before it even touched the child. The Zorati froze in awe. They protect us, but they do not speak. They do not smile. They just act. The Deathworlders cleared the valley, leaving no threats behind. But there was no celebration. No cheering. Their work was not about glory or kindness, it was about ensuring survival, theirs and those they deemed worthy. The Zorati elders approached Kane cautiously. "We are safe, thanks to you?" Kane's voice was low, measured. "You survived. That is enough." The aliens realized that humans were not here to be friends. They were here to enforce a rule of survival. Mercy was not given. It was earned by understanding, obeying, and respecting strength. The remaining predators retreated into the mountains, leaving the Zorati trembling. They had survived, but they were forever changed. Humans were not just warriors, they were predators from a world harsher than their worst nightmares. As night fell, Kane's squad began setting temporary perimeters, securing the settlement. Their movements were quiet, efficient. Any alien who disobeyed or wandered too close to danger would be punished, not out of cruelty but as a lesson in survival. The Zorati huddled together, whispering among themselves. They are saviors and executioners. They fight for results, not for friendship. From the mountains, the predators watched. They had thought the Zorati were weak. They had thought victory was near. Now they paused. A force stronger than anything they had faced moved silently among the ruins, and it would not be defeated easily. Kane surveyed the city one last time. His team's sensors confirmed every threat was neutralized. No surprises. No mistakes. Area secure. Extraction ready, Kane said to his squad. Survivors accounted for. We leave. Humans always survive. Remember this. The squad disappeared into the shadows, leaving the Zorati alive, but forever changed. Their perception of the universe had shifted. Humanity was no longer just another species in the galaxy. Humans were the ultimate predators, unstoppable and merciless to threats. That night, the aliens realized the terrifying truth. They had called for help, and humans had come. But the help they received was not mercy. It was the first lesson in survival under Deathworlders. And the Zorati would never forget it. The Zorati had survived the first night. Their predators were dead or scattered. But survival brought no comfort. They huddled together in the ruined city, whispering nervously. Their saviors, the humans, had not spoken to them. They had only acted, and every action had reminded the Zorati how fragile their lives were. Commander Rylan Kane and his squad moved silently through the settlement at dawn. Their footsteps made no sound. Their armor reflected the pale red sunlight. Every movement was precise, deliberate. The Zorati watched in awe and fear, realizing that these humans did not need orders. They acted instinctively with deadly efficiency. Kane stopped at the top of a ruined tower. His visor scanned the valley below. Sensors highlighted every life form, Predators, weak aliens, survivors. Nothing escaped the Deathworlders' vision. He turned to his squad. Set up observation posts. We remain until all threats are neutralized. Teach the aliens to survive. Teach? A Zorati elder whispered. Do they speak? The humans did not speak. They did not explain. Their actions were lessons. Every time a predator approached, a human would appear silently and eliminate it. Every time an alien endangered itself through ignorance or panic, a subtle warning or a decisive strike reminded them. Obedience and caution are survival. A young Zorati, curious and brave, approached too closely to one human warrior. Kane's visor lit up. He raised a hand, signaling the human to act. A low-energy pulse from the weapon blasted a boulder in front of the child. No harm done, but the message was clear. Stay alert, stay safe, and follow the rules. The Zorati began to understand. Humans did not simply protect. They demanded respect for life through strength and awareness. Mercy was not given freely. It was earned through careful behavior and recognition of danger. The predators were clever. Packs attempted ambushes at night, using the ruins and shadows to their advantage. But the Deathworlders anticipated every move. They moved faster, struck harder, and adapted instantly. One predator thought it had hidden successfully. Then a human appeared silently and it was gone. Not a scream, not a struggle, just eliminated efficiently. The Zorati watched from the hills, hearts pounding. These humans, an elder said softly. They are not like any species we have known. They are the ultimate hunters. By the second day, Kane's squad had mapped the entire area. All predator lairs were discovered and neutralized. Weak structures were reinforced for alien survival. Humans organized the Zorati into safe zones, teaching them instinctively where to hide, how to move quietly, and how to survive without attracting attention. One of Kane's team, a human named Sarah Voss, moved among the aliens silently, showing them how to avoid dangers in the ruins. No words. Only gestures. Every action carried a lesson. The Zorati began to follow instructions, slowly, carefully. They realized that human help was not gentle. It was lethal if ignored. Every predator they ignored, every mistake they made could have been their end. By the third day, the Zorati understood a harsh truth. Survival was not about hope, gifts, or prayers. It was about learning the rules of a species that thrived in death worlds, that feared nothing and respected only strength and awareness. A predator pack attempted one last desperate attack. They thought the humans would rest. They thought the aliens were easy prey. They were wrong. The Deathworlders descended silently. One by one, the predators were eliminated with perfect precision. Not a single human moved recklessly. Every strike, every action, demonstrated superior strategy, adaptation, and lethal skill. The Zorati gasped. They are unstoppable, one whispered. They do not fight, they are the law of survival. Commander Kane surveyed the valley after the battle. The predators were gone. The aliens were alive. But the humans were not here to celebrate. Their mission was clear. Teach, protect, dominate when necessary, and leave only survivors who understood their rules. He spoke to his squad in a low voice. Extraction tomorrow. Until then, maintain positions. Aliens must learn. Predators must fear. Humans survive. The Zorati began to see it clearly. The humans had come as saviors, but not in the way they expected. There were no smiles, no speeches, no promises. There was only survival, taught by a species tougher than the deadliest world, stronger than the most dangerous predator, and faster than any escape. That night, the Zorati whispered among themselves. They are our saviors, and yet more terrifying than death itself. And in the shadows, the Deathworlders watched, silent and calm. Their presence alone ensured that no threat dared approach and no mistake would go unpunished. The Zorati understood now. They had called for help. Humans had arrived. But humans did not give mercy, they gave survival on their terms. And the galaxy would never see this kind of power again. The morning sun burned red across the jagged mountains of Zorati's 9. Smoke still rose from the ruined cities, but the predators had not dared approach since the humans arrived. For the first time in years, the Zorati could breathe, but their relief was fragile. They had survived, but the humans' presence was more terrifying than any predator they had faced. Commander Ryland Kane stood at the top of a ridge, surveying the valley. His visor highlighted every life form. Nothing escaped the Deathworlders' sensors. Not a predator, not an alien, not even the smallest movement. Kane spoke to his squad. Today we finished the sweep. Every predator, every threat, every weak spot, neutralize it. Leave nothing for mistakes. Humans survive. Humans dominate. Humans teach. The squad moved forward like shadows. Their steps were quiet but deliberate. Each weapon was ready. Each hand precise. The Zorati watched from a distance, hearts pounding. They were safe, but only because they obeyed the rules the humans had silently enforced. Suddenly, a group of predators tried to regroup in the northern canyon. They thought they could reclaim territory while the humans focused on the city. They were wrong. A single human scout, moving like a phantom, spotted them first. A signal flashed across the squad's comms. Kane's voice came calm and measured. Engage. Show them the law of survival. The humans descended into the canyon. In minutes, the predators were eliminated, not with noise, not with chaos, but with silent, flawless precision. The Zorati gasped. Each strike was perfect. Each predator gone in an instant. The humans did not rush. They did not make mistakes. Every move was calculated for maximum efficiency. The Zorati began to realize the terrifying truth. These humans were not ordinary soldiers. They were predators from a death world, a species honed by the harshest conditions. They could survive anywhere. They could fight anyone. They respected only strength, precision, and awareness. A young Zorati elder approached the humans cautiously. You have saved us, he said softly. Kane turned slightly, his visor glowing faintly. We ensure survival. That is all. Mercy is not given, it is earned. The Zorati trembled. They understood. Survival under the humans' protection was not a gift. It was a lesson in obedience, awareness, and respect for ultimate strength. Meanwhile, the predators who had survived in distant caves realized the humans' true power. They had not only fought, they had dominated every threat without hesitation. Any creature that dared challenge the humans was immediately removed. Even the strongest packs had fallen. Back in the valley, Kane's squad began teaching the Zorati instinctive survival skills. Not with words but with action. They showed the aliens where to hide, how to move quietly, and how to recognize threats before they appeared. Every gesture, every movement was a lesson. The aliens slowly began to obey, carefully mimicking human movements, understanding the rules by observation. Their survival depended on it. One wrong step could mean death. By afternoon, Kane's squad had cleared the entire Central Valley. Every predator den, every ambush point, every hidden threat had been neutralized. The humans stood silently on the ridges, scanning for danger. The Zorati could only stare in awe. They had never seen such efficiency, such absolute dominance, such lethal calm. One elder whispered, "They are gods, no worse than gods. They are Deathworlders." Another added, shivering, "They do not fight for glory. They fight for survival. And they will not fail." Kane surveyed the valley, satisfied. Extraction will begin at dawn. Until then, maintain positions. Observe. Protect. But remember, humans survive. Always. That night, the Zorati gathered around their leader. They spoke in hushed tones, their eyes wide with fear and awe. They saved us, but they are not saviors like we imagined. They are predators. Stronger than anything we have ever known. They do not forgive weakness, another whispered. They do not give mercy freely, a third added. From the mountains, the predators watched in fear. The humans had proven that no threat could challenge them. They were fast, silent, precise, and unstoppable. Even the deadliest of the predators could not survive their assault. The Zorati realized a hard truth. They had called for help. Humans had arrived. But humans did not come to show mercy. They came to enforce survival, their survival and the survival of those they deemed worthy. And the galaxy would never see such power again. The first light of dawn spread across Zorati's 9. The valley was quiet. Smoke from burning predator dens still drifted across the jagged mountains, but there was no danger. For the first time in years, the Zorati could breathe without fear. Commander Rylan Kane and his Deathworlder squad stood on the ridge, scanning the area one last time. Every predator had been eliminated or driven into hiding. Every weak spot had been secured. Their mission was complete, and yet there was no celebration. Humans did not celebrate. They ensured results and then they moved on. The Zorati gathered near the ridge, whispering nervously. They had survived. But survival under humans' protection came with a heavy lesson. Mercy was not guaranteed. Obedience, awareness, and respect for strength were required. One elder spoke softly, "They saved us, but they are not like anyone we know. They are predators, stronger than our strongest fears." Another added, trembling, "We called for help, and humans answered. But their help, it is terrifying." From the mountains, remaining predators watched silently, understanding the new hierarchy. Humans were not ordinary beings. They were hunters from a death world, unstoppable, relentless, and lethal. Any creature foolish enough to challenge them would die. Kane turned to his squad. Extraction in 1 hour. Remain vigilant. Humans always survive. Remember this. The squad moved silently through the valley, teaching the Zorati small but vital lessons along the way. How to hide, how to observe, how to react instantly to danger. The aliens absorbed everything they could, understanding that their lives depended on these lessons. The Zorati began to realize the terrifying truth. Humans were not here to negotiate. They were not here to offer comfort or rewards. They were here to enforce survival, and their definition of protection was absolute power. At night, the humans set up perimeter posts across the valley. Their glowing visors lit the darkness with a faint blue light. Any movement outside their field of view was met with instant assessment and response. One careless alien stepped too close to the edge of a cliff. A single warning pulse from a weapon reminded them, stay alert, follow the rules, survive. The Zorati whispered among themselves. They are our saviors, and our executioners, one said. They fight for results, not for mercy, another added. For the first time, the Zorati understood what it meant to call humans Deathworlders. These beings were born on worlds designed to kill anyone weak. They thrived where others perished. Their strength, their instincts, and their discipline were unmatched in the galaxy. The predators who had survived in distant caves now realized the humans' true power. Even their most daring packs were no match. The humans were faster, smarter, and deadlier than anything the predators had ever faced. By dawn, Kane's squad began extraction. They did not speak. They did not acknowledge thanks. They simply moved with deadly efficiency, gathering their gear, scanning the surroundings, and preparing to leave. The Zorati followed quietly, learning silently. As Kane's squad boarded their ships, he gave a final command. Remember what you have seen. Survival depends on awareness, strength, and respect. Humans survive. Always. The ships lifted off, dark shapes against the red sky. The Zorati watched silently, hearts pounding. They were alive, but forever changed. The valley, once filled with predators and chaos, now seemed calm, almost peaceful. Yet the aliens could not shake a deep fear. Humans had saved them, but they had also redefined what survival meant. Mercy was not free. Protection came with rules. Weakness could be fatal. From orbit, Kane's eyes scanned the planet one last time. The Zorati were alive. Their enemies were gone. The mission was complete. Humans had done what no other species could. They had restored order, enforced survival, and demonstrated the absolute power of Deathworlders. The Zorati realized something they could never have imagined before humans arrived. The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again. Any species foolish enough to challenge humans would face the same terrifying efficiency. One elder whispered to the young Zorati watching. They are not just warriors, they are legends. A force beyond imagination. Kane's squad disappeared into the void of space, leaving the planet quiet, secure, and forever marked by their presence. The Zorati would tell stories of this day for generations, warning others about the humans who come from death worlds, who answer cries for help with power no one expects, and who show mercy only on their terms. And across the galaxy, word of their arrival would spread. Every species would learn one truth: humans were no longer just another civilization. They were Deathworlders. Merciless to threats. Protectors to those who follow the rules. And unstoppable in power. The Zorati called it survival. Humans called it life. And the galaxy would never forget the day the humans answered the call. The skies of Zorati's 9 were quiet. The predators were gone, scattered, or defeated. The cities were in ruins, but the surviving Zorati had hope. They had called for help and the humans had come. But hope had a sharp edge now. They had learned that human help was not gentle or kind. Commander Rylan Kane watched from orbit aboard the flagship Aegis. His squad completed the final scan of the planet. Every threat was neutralized. Every weak point secured. The Zorati were alive. The predators feared them. Mission complete. But Kane did not smile. Humans never celebrated victories. They ensured survival, enforced order, and left only lessons behind. Below, the Zorati gathered. Their eyes were wide, their hearts still pounding. They remembered the humans' silent steps, the deadly precision of their weapons, the calm yet terrifying authority in every movement. Humans had changed their world in a matter of days. They had saved lives, but not in a way the aliens could fully understand. An elder spoke to the others, voice trembling. They are not just warriors. They are gods among predators. A young Zorati nodded. No, worse than gods. They are Deathworlders. They survive where death lives. They do not forgive mistakes. They do not give mercy freely. The Zorati began spreading the tale to neighboring worlds. Across the galaxy, whispers grew into stories and stories into legends. Every civilization that heard of the humans realized one truth. Do not underestimate them. Call for help and humans will answer. But their answer is beyond imagination, beyond mercy, and beyond control. In the Galactic Council, species debated humanity's rise. Some feared them. Some respected them. Some wanted alliances while others wondered how to avoid them. Counselor Arith, watching the news feed from Zorati's 9, shook his head. They are no longer like the other civilizations we know. They thrive where others die. They punish threats with precision. And yet, they protect the worthy. A bird-like counselor flapped nervously. Are they gods? Aritha's gaze was steady. No. They are humans. But they are the kind of humans the galaxy never imagined. Merciless to danger, unstoppable in survival, and unbeatable in strength. Back on Zorati's 9, the Zorati rebuilt what they could. But the memory of the humans' presence never left them. They remembered the silent steps, the glowing eyes, the lethal efficiency, and the lessons they had learned. To survive, one had to obey the rules of the Deathworlders. Some predators returned, thinking they could reclaim the planet. They were eliminated before they even reached the valley. The humans had left automated sensors and reminders, a subtle but permanent warning. The planet was quiet now, but the message was clear. Humans had visited and survival would never be easy again. Kane's squad traveled back to human space. They did not speak of mercy or gratitude or heroism. They observed, adapted, and prepared for the next call. Humans had a reputation now. Across countless worlds, stories would grow of their power, their fearlessness, and their merciless protection. The Zorati called it a miracle. The predators called it a nightmare. And the galaxy called it a warning. One elder said softly to the young ones, "They saved us, but they also taught us. We will never forget the humans from the death worlds. They are unstoppable. They are merciless. And they are eternal." From orbit, Kane looked down at Zorati's 9. The humans had changed the planet, its creatures, and its people. But more than that, they had changed the galaxy's understanding of humanity. The stars were quiet. But somewhere across the black void, other civilizations were listening, waiting, wondering, and fearing. Humans did not conquer worlds for glory. They did not seek praise. But their power could not be ignored. They answered calls for help, but the answer was never what anyone expected. It was survival, enforcement, and a reminder of humanity's strength. Kane's squad set their course for the next mission. Another cry would come. Another world would call for aid. And humanity would answer. Always. The galaxy had learned one immutable truth that day. Do not underestimate humans. Do not call them weak. And never expect mercy. For the Zorati, for the predators, for every species watching across the stars. Humans had arrived. Deathworlders had answered. And the legend of their power would echo forever. And so the galaxy entered a new era. An era where the name human carried weight, fear, respect, and awe. An era where survival had a new meaning. An era where humanity, the Deathworlders, were unstoppable. The Zorati whispered one final thought that night. We asked for help, and the